Hello there, Di here. I was going through my supplies and getting out a few things that I'd forgotten I had and came across a lovely box of embossing powders and glitter, which simply don't get used. The ones I use for sentiments live on top of my workbench and so they get used all the time, but these ones were just hidden away. So I made a couple of tags and thought, this is a good idea, I'll make some more. I had plenty of black cardstock left over from the last journal I made, just narrow strips. So I cut those out with the Tim Holtz small label die, and these larger pieces are what I use to scatter on all sorts of embossing powders, mainly Stampendous and Zing, along with some glitter of unknown etiology. Some of it was Martha Stewart, but most of it was just in little tubs because I don't use much glitter. And these were the 4 panels that I came up with after heating it very carefully from the bottom to melt the embossing powder so it didn't all blow away. I've also got my big box of scrap paper there waiting to be depleted. I cut them out with a little tag die and ended up with 3 in each colour. And the leftovers didn't go astray. I used my little heart punch and little flower punch and things to cut out any that were large enough. I'll use those for embellishing the backs. Here I'm starting to adhere them all down, so I'm using another piece of black to adhere the tag to give it a bit more stability and help use up all those little scraps of black cardstock. You can see there that had some writing on the back, but it's going to have another piece over the back of that as well. So these tags are actually 3 layers. Love the colours in those dark tags, they're beautiful. After I'd rolled them to get the maximum contact with the adhesive, I just pop them under the acrylic block to start the flattening process and make sure they have a little bit of pressure on them as they dry. The pink one is very pretty too, but I think the aqua one was my favourite. There they all are, all adhered to their black backgrounds. I went through my box and found some small pieces of cardstock, and I chose red for the red and green, a tealy green for the aqua ones, and a green cardstock for the black and green ones. In reality, I should have done this step at the very end after I'd done all the rest, because the backs did become slightly distressed as I was Mod Podging and things, but not too badly. Next time I'll do it at the end. Here I've just got my page of words. These are just printed from the computer in 2 columns on a sheet of adhesive back paper. I'm peeling off the tape backing and just putting one, or some of them had a couple of words on each one. This font is, I think it's called My Underwood, and it's just a little typey sort of font from dafont.com. I use these little sentiments a lot. I've got several sheets on the go with different fonts, different words, different sizes. And if you use the same font, you can double them up. Here I'm just putting on some gloss Mod Podge, which just to seal in the surface, make sure that none of that glitter that may not have adhered tremendously well comes off. I hate it when glitter comes off things. And just to seal the little sentiments on. Finish off the surface. That's the bit where I wished I'd waited to put the back paper on because some of it leaked through. I've got a little bowl of gold flakes on my bench top, and I thought I'd just put that little aqua tag had a couple of tiny little strands of black paper caught in amongst the embossing paste. It really didn't matter, but I just thought I'd dab a little bit of gold on just to see how it went. I've got the flakes, but I very rarely use them, so I think one of the black ones and that aqua one both got a few little dabs of flaky gold, and I'm just going over it here with the end of a toothpick to pat them down into the Mod Podge to adhere them properly. You touch it with your finger, they tend to lift back up again on the end of your finger. It looks quite pretty in the finish. I wished I'd put some on more of them actually. I got out some gold cardstock scraps and cut some reinforcers using the little Tim Holtz reinforcer and added those to the front once they were dry enough, and then also to the back just to finish them off and to hide those little marks on the back where the Mod Podge had leaked through the tag hole. Each of the tags got a little heart on the back, matching the colour, matching the embossing front, just to finish them off at the bottom there. I kept the backs all plain deliberately so that any sentiments can be written, or to and from, or little messages can be written on there. There they are, all done, all finished. Except for the gold acrylic paint around the edges. So I just got my gold acrylic paint dabber out and went around the edges of all of them fairly quickly just to finish off the edge and to put a little whiskery gold distressing around each of those. It finishes them off quite nicely. I love that black one. It would be perfect for tying around the neck of a bottle of wine or bag of shortbread, that sort of thing, for a little gift. And while they're not, I made them fairly ambiguous. The red ones are a little Christmassy, but not particularly so. There they are, just about all finished, drying off their paint. And I realised after I'd finished cutting them all out that my little Tim Holtz die that I used there, the smallest tag you can see there, that I used for cutting everything out, was just about worn out with all the work. And I realised my tiny tabs and tags die, the larger one, the steel rule die, is exactly the same size, and it's got two of the reinforcers on it, so I could have used that all along. I'll certainly use it next time where I'm doing larger quantities, because you can cut several at once and it would have been a lot quicker and a lot easier. I've got some still photos here at the end to show you. There you can see the tags are exactly the same size. Live and learn. There's all the tags with their ribbons on. I used up a stash of old ribbons as well. There's the two original ones with their seam binding. The red ones look quite Christmassy. The black and gold. The aqua, which I think are my favourites. And finally the pink. Thanks for watching. See you soon.